this is Vera from Riverviews Transcona Settlement Services, or REDIS, and today we're going to be talking about some REDIS recipes, and our recipe today is bean burritos. So everybody should be getting a kit with all the ingredients that you need. I'm just going to go over those quickly. You should have 2 cans of red kidney beans in your kit and a can of diced tomatoes. This is a spice package. It contains the garlic powder, the cumin, and the chili powder, so that should be all set to go for you, and a package of tortillas. You can use any kind of tortillas that you like, whole wheat or flavored tortillas or homemade tortillas, but this is just regular white flour tortillas that we're using in the recipe today. You should have your instruction sheet that goes over all the ingredients. And if you notice on the instruction sheet, there's a section that says optional fresh ingredients. And today for that recipe, we have some chopped green onions and also some grated cheese. You don't need to include these in your recipe if you don't want to, but they just add a little extra color and flavor to the recipe. You can also add extra things at home that you have if you have red peppers or green peppers or white onions, anything that you like, you can add to this recipe as well. But for today, we're just going to be using the cheese and the green onions and the ingredients in the recipe kit. So the utensils that we need are very simple. I have a bowl for mixing the beans and the ingredients in. You can use a masher to mash the kidney beans, or a fork will do as well. And then a can opener to open up the cans. And this is a strainer or a colander just to drain the beans in. So the first step, if you look at your recipe, is to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. So I have the oven on, heating up. And step 2 is to drain and rinse 2 cans of kidney beans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the cans, put them in the strainer over the sink, and then rinse them with just plain tap water. So I'm going to do that step, and I'll be back in a minute to show you the next part. Okay, now we have our kidney beans rinsed and drained and in the bowl. Next thing, I'm going to take my masher, or like I said, you can just use an ordinary fork, and we're going to mash up the beans. And this is a personal preference as to how much you want to mash them up. But just make sure you try to break them up as much as you can. And that'll make it a little bit easier to spread onto the flour tortillas. So I'm just going to take a minute or so to mash these up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I have the kidney beans all mashed up, and you can see it's just a nice consistency. It's a little bit chunky yet to give the burritos a bit of texture, but mostly it's pretty mashed up. Okay, so next I'm going to take the tomatoes, the can of diced tomatoes, and add that in. And just mix that up with the wooden spoon or any spoon you have in your kitchen. There we go. And for the next step, we're going to be adding our seasonings. So again, this little bag will have garlic powder, cumin, and chili powder. I'll just empty that right in. Again, we'll mix that up. It smells really good when the spices come into the mixture. All right, you can see there's a lot of, the chunks of the tomato in there mixed with the beans and the spices. So this mixture is now ready to go to spread on the tortillas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the bag of tortillas and get a couple started, and then we'll come back to see what that looks like. Okay, now comes the fun part. We're going to assemble the burritos. So I have the tortilla ready to go, and I'm just going to take a little measuring cup. This one is about 1/4 cup. Just spread some of the mixture on. Add a little bit more. This is divided between 10 tortillas, so you can add as much or as little as you like depending on your preference. And now I'm going to just add some of the green onions on top, and some of the cheese. And my family really likes cheese, so I'm going to make sure that there's a generous amount there. And to roll up the burrito, I'm going to fold one side in and then the other side, and then start at the end and just roll the burrito up. I have one already on the plate, and you can see that it's not a perfect thing. They can come in different shapes and sizes, and you can have fun with them, and don't worry if they don't all look the same. It's part of the fun, is just putting them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the rest of the burritos, and then we're going to put them in the oven and bake them at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes, and then we can see what they look like when we're all done. All right, we're back. Our beet burritos are out of the oven. They're looking really good. They've been in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. I have a piece of parchment paper on the pan. That's not necessary. I just put it on because it makes cleanup a little bit easier. So we're ready to try them. Let's add it to a plate. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of our extra cheese on top, just because extra cheese is always nice. And there you have it. A fast, easy recipe for a lunch or a dinner, bean burritos. And thank you for joining Redis Recipes today. We look forward to seeing you again.